Hello everyone, welcome back to chapter 4 of our Azure AI Services series. So in the previous chapter we explored two important cognitive services, that is vision and speech. So now it's time to move on the remaining two services in this category, that is language and decision service. So in this chapter we'll first understand what these services are, how they works and the real world use case where you can apply them, just like we did in chapter number 3. We'll then head over to the Azure portal to create required resources step by step and finally build a small React app to integrate and test these services in action. So without wasting any time, let's dive into the chapter number 4, that is language and decision services in Azure. So let's first try to understand what is the language service is and where it is used. So basically, Azure Language Service helps application to understand, interpret, and process natural language. It combines several NPM capabilities into one unified service. And some of the key feature: sentiment analysis to detect if the text is positive, negative, or neutral. Then number 2, language detection to automatically identify which language a piece of text is written in. Then named entity recognition, we call it as NER, to extract useful information like people, places, organizations, and dates. Now, where it can be used. So, basically, this language service is mostly used in customer feedback analysis for understanding what users are saying about your product or service. Then, number 2, that is chatbot and virtual assistants for making conversations more intelligent, and content moderation for scanning and filtering out unwanted or harmful text. So these are the most common use case of language service. So now let's talk about the decision service. Decision service helps application to make content based intelligent decision. Some major example includes personalizer, which delivers personalized user experience by learning from the user experience. The number 2, content moderator, to detect inappropriate or offensive text, image, and videos. And anomaly detector to find unusual pattern or behavior in the data. And the use cases, or it is used in product recommendation, just like you can see in e-commerce websites, or fraud detection in financial transactions. So in short, language service helps in understanding text, while decision service helps in making intelligent choice based on the context. So now, just like we did in chapter number 3, let's quickly jump to the Azure portal and create these two services and then integrate them with our React app to see how they actually work in real world. So once you log into the Azure portal, then we'll be navigating to this landing page of the Azure portal, as I already mentioned in the previous chapter. So here we have to create two services. So in the previous chapter we have created a resource group, so we don't need to create the resource group again. So we'll use this resource group as cognitive AI demo, and we'll keep this resource group as is, and we'll just add these two services in this resource group. So first we'll find out this language, and in that language, once we click on this language, then we'll be navigating again to this AI services page. On the side menu there is option language service, and let's click on this create plus language button. So once we click, then we'll be navigate to this page. So these are the additional features that Azure provides, like default features, sentiment analysis, key phrase extraction, and many more. And if you want, you can do the customize or custom features. So we'll use the default feature as is, and let's click on this continue to create your resource. And once that is done, then we'll be navigating to this create language page, where we'll use the resource group as we have already created. The subscription that I'm using, that's pay as you go, and the region, so we'll use Central India as region, and the name for this service that I'll use TA language demo, and the pricing tier, I think we have to add this. And then the pricing tier for this, let we'll use the free one, and just we need to enable this checkbox that we have agreed, and let's click on review plus create. So it will is validating the details that we entered. So you can see running final validations. So now validation is done. So you can see the subscription that we are using pay as you go, the resource group that we map, that is TA AI demo, and the central and the pricing tier. So let's simply click on create button. And once that is done, deployment is in progress. You can see the current status in this deployment process or deployment in progress page. Deployment is completed. So let's click on go to resource. Then you will be navigating to this our TA language demo page. So once we click on that, then we'll be navigating to the overview page of our created language AI service, where you can see the resource group, location, and all the details. So as we have already know, we have to copy the endpoint and key to map those AI services into the real application. So again, we'll follow the same steps. So for that, before we copy the endpoint and key, let's quickly go to the VS Code, and where I'll show you what I have created in as an app. So in that, I have created this language endpoint and language key as a separate const, and for the decision as well. And in that, we'll calling this API one by one. So you can simply go to the UI, and you can see we'll enter the text, and once we click on the analyze language, according to the language that we entered, it will analyze. So let's go to the key and endpoint and copy the key, and go here and then paste the key over here. Let's copy the endpoint. So let's quickly go to the UI. Let's reload this one more time, open in inspect mode to see the network call, and let's enter the language text over here. So I'll add this I love Azure Cognitive Services. So it will analyze the text that we entered, and according to that, it will give us the phrases. So you can see the page got hit, and you can see it is this what kind of text is this. It's a sentiment analysis result, and you can see it's a positive sentiment, and the text that we added, that is I love Azure Cognitive Service. So let's try one more case. In that, we'll add this text. This is a bad word example, and let's click on again analyze language. The page getting hit, and you can see the statement that is that we have forcefully added these words. So according to that, it's a negative sentiment, and according to that, it sends a result. So in this way, we can use this language service to detect the sentiments for the entered text and use as per the requirement. So again, let's go to the Azure portal and create our decision service. So we'll again follow the same process. Decision services, we have to use this content safety. Let's call it as content safety, and let's follow the same steps. Let's click on this create plus button, and we'll be navigating to this page. We have to map the resource group and the name that we add TA decision demo, and the pricing tier that we'll use free. Let's click on review plus create. I think we by mistakenly selected the region that is East US. So again, we'll go to the previous tabs, and we'll select the region that is, we'll use this South India as a region, and then let's click on review plus create again. Let's click on this create button, and you can see the initializing deployment is started. So deployment is in progress, and once that is done, then again we'll copy the key and the endpoint. So let's again go to the resource and go to the content safety, and let's go inside this TA decision demo, and let's copy the endpoint and key. So that's how you can copy the key and endpoint into your decision service and make sure it gives the correct decision or result based on the text that we provide. With that, we are now completed all the Azure Cognitive Services. In chapter 3, we explored vision and speech, and in this chapter, we covered the remaining two, that is language and decision. So far, you should have a clear understanding of how to create these services in Azure Portal and integrate them into your application using React. So if you found this video very helpful, then don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to support the channel, and stay tuned, because in the next chapter we are moving to the applied AI services, and I'll try to cover most of them in one go. And as I always say, keep learning, happy coding, and I'll see you in the next chapter. Until then, have a great day.